So I have finished writing my opinion writing, but I'm not going to turn it in yet because I want to make sure I've done my very best work. I'm going to read through my writing and ask myself a different question each time to make sure that my work is as good as I know it can be. I'm going to have you do the same thing right along with me with your writing. So throughout this video, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and then do the exact same work on your writing that I'm doing with mine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read through my story, my writing, and ask if my sentences make sense, if what I wrote down is what I actually meant to say. So I'll go through it, and then when I'm done, I'll ask you to pause and you'll do that too. I think that Pendleton Heights is the best neighborhood in Kansas City because barely any robberies and barely any people get hurt. I think what I meant to say is because there are. I'm going to read it out loud and then I might reread it to make sure that it's what I meant to say. I think Pendleton Heights is the best neighborhood in Kansas City because there are barely any robberies and barely any people get hurt. So mostly everybody is safe. Next, the parks like Kessler Park and Maple Park. Well, that sentence is an incomplete thought because what about those parks? I need to add something right here to make it make more sense. What I was trying to say, that there are some really great parks there. Okay, so maybe I can add those words. Next, there are some beautiful parks like Kessler Park and Maple Park. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to read through your writing, and I want you to make sure that every sentence, I only did halfway through, but you'll do the whole thing, makes sense and is saying what you want it to say. Pause now. Great, I bet it already looks wonderful. Now we're going to go through and make sure that we have all the parts. So the next question is, do I have a strong, bold thesis statement? We want to make sure that our first sentence is just our opinion statement, just our thesis. Oh, well, I start going into my reason right away. That's an easy fix. I can just put a period right here. I think Pendleton Heights is the best neighborhood in Kansas City. That's a great, bold, strong statement. Now take a look at yours. Okay, next thing on the list is, do I have several reasons to back up my opinion? Okay, if I only have one reason, that's not enough. I'm looking for at least 3. So my first one is, I need to make this a full sentence again. The first reason is that there are barely any robberies and barely any people get hurt. So most everybody is safe. There's another reason, there are beautiful parks, and 3, there's kind people who knows their neighbors. Yeah, I do. How about you? Do you have at least 3 reasons? Pause this video and check. Now let's look at the next thing. Did I explain, add examples, or personal experience to help support my reasons? After my reason, I want to make sure I'm backing it up with several sentences telling me more about that reason. So the first reason is that there's barely any robberies and barely people get hurt. So mostly everybody is safe. I could add a personal experience and say, I've never been robbed and I've lived there for 3 years. I think for that one I can just leave it at those 2 sentences. Next, there are some beautiful parks like Kessler Park and Maple Park. Maybe I want to add a sentence explaining how that helps a neighborhood thrive. Because of these parks, comma, many people, in my neighborhood like to go out and be healthy by playing in these parks. Last, most of the people are kind and care for each other and knows their neighbors. Maybe I could say, for example, My whole street gets together every Christmas to sing carols and eat Christmas cookies. I just made that up, but you might share a real story of something from your neighborhood if you live there, some personal experience. You could also share something that you found from your map, or you might share a fact that you learned about the history of your neighborhood, of anything of the things you know of your neighborhood. We want to make sure we're adding examples, personal experiences, details, explanations after each reason. This might take some time, but I want you to go back. You can add it to the sides of your paper or add a post-it note to the middle so that you have several really good reasons. Pause now and add more to your reasons. Now let's look for transition words. In your writing, you want to make sure one idea flows smoothly to the next. Okay? So I'm going to look for things like the first reason. I have that right away so that they know I'm going from the, what's that called? The thesis statement to the first reason. Next, there's one. Okay. Oops, I better fix that spelling. Last, I might say last but not least, most of the people are kind and care for each other. Do you have transitional phrases in your writing? Pause the video and check to make sure that you have things like one reason, another reason, for example, last but not least. Those are phrases that I should see in your writing too. Okay, last thing, let's look for a conclusion. At the end, let's make sure that we're leaving the reader with something to think about or to do that has to do with your opinion. Here's mine. What about you? Well, I think Pendleton Heights is a great place, but I think you can make it better. Did you add a conclusion statement to yours? Check now. And I lied, one more thing. We want to make sure that we spelled all the words right and I capitalized everything that I knew I needed to capitalize. I'm going to go through it one more time. If there's anything I didn't capitalize or didn't spell to the best of my ability, I'm going to fix it because I want it to be my best. For example, I know that the name of my neighborhood is a specific noun, a proper noun, so I'm going to capitalize it. I think I need to fix that down here. Did you capitalize your neighborhood name? Okay, let's go through and read each word and make sure, oops, there's Kansas City. We know that should be capitalized. Now, I'm writing this on the computer. You wrote it on paper. But if there's anything that doesn't look right, I'm going to try my very best, or I might ask a friend for help to make sure that it's spelled to my best of my abilities. I might try it a couple different ways until it looks right. I want you to read through your writing one last time and make sure that you have done your very best effort in your spelling and your capitalization. Wow, that looks great. I'm sure you're going to do very well. I want you to make sure before you turn it in that you are giving me your very best effort, third graders. Make sure your name is on it and turn it into the first try basket.